Hey guys, it's me. I know it's been a while. There has been a lot going on. I'm not going to get into it, but I appreciate you guys still sticking around. I know I said I was going to work on the upload schedule, and I plan to do so. It's just been a crazy start to the year. Anyway, so today's audio is going to be a little bit different. Instead of doing a role play, I thought about doing something a bit random and reading out about different phobias because I remember reading something a while ago and it seemed to just be phobias for the most random things. And when I did a bit of research, it kind of felt like there's a phobia for pretty much almost anything. So I thought I'd have a bit of a go, and I thought it would be a bit funny, not necessarily because of what people are scared of, because obviously it's legitimate fears, even if they're technically irrational, they're still legitimate. But I figured I'd have a go at pronouncing these words, and you guys can have a bit of a laugh at me and how much I fail at this. Alright, so I've written down a few, so hopefully this will last more than 2 minutes. But yeah, here we go. A blutophobia, fear of washing or bathing. Hmm, that's an interesting one. Acluophobia. I think it's acluophobia. It's got a CH, but I think it converts to a K. Acluophobia, fear of darkness. Huh. I wouldn't have thought that it would sound like that for fear of darkness, but there you go. Acrophobia, fear of heights. I guess that kind of makes sense because, acrobatics, they're normally up high, so acrophobia, fear of heights, I guess that kind of makes sense. Aerophobia, fear of flying. Again, kind of also makes sense. I like the spelling of that too, because aerophobia, it's Aero, and here in Australia we have a chocolate bar called Aero, which is I don't know if you guys have the Cadbury bubbly mint chocolate. It's like that. It's like the minty bubble stuff on the inside, and then it's covered in coated in chocolate, and it's called an Aero bar before Cadbury released their bubbly blocks here. Anywho, agoraphobia, fear of open spaces or crowds. Interesting. A- Aichmophobia, aichmophobia. Aichmophobia, fear of needles or pointed objects. Okay. I mean, I kind of have a fear of needles, but I don't think it's necessarily that. Pointed objects, I'm not so afraid of, but yeah, needles and injections, which I think is a separate one. Anyway, electrophobia. No, electorophobia. Fear of chickens. Interesting. Electorophobia is the fear of chickens. Again, it doesn't really sound like it. I don't know. Some of these fears or phobias, the word sounds like what the fear, it sounds like it links to the fear by the sound of the word. But some of them sound completely different, which is interesting. So I don't know if it's going back to the origin of the word for chicken or something, and maybe it's linking to Old Latin or something, or maybe it's just completely random. Maybe it's to do with the person who came up with the phobia. I don't know. Anyway, amaxophobia, fear of riding in a car. Didn't know that was a thing. That's interesting. I can kind of understand it though. Androphobia, fear of men. You see, androphobia I would think would be fear of androids or robots or something. Androphobia is fear of men. Okay. Anginophobia, fear of angina or choking. You see, again, that kind of makes sense. Angina, anginophobia. Anthrophobia, fear of flowers. Anthropo- an- anthropophobia, anthropophobia, fear of people or society. Yeah. Hey, society can be pretty fucked up. That's fair enough. I'm not going to judge you for that. And then there's anthropophobia. So there's anthrophobia, which is the one that we just read, the fear of flowers, and then anthropophobia, which is fear of people or society. That's really close together. I would find that very confusing. Why is it so close together? That is interesting. Again, I guess it's something to do with like the background of phobias and how the words came to be. I'm not really sure, but I think that's very interesting and kind of confusing because they're very different things to be afraid of, but the word is very, very similar. It's literally 2 letters difference. Anywho, there, aphenphosmphobia. I'm sorry if I butchered that. To anyone who has this phobia, fear of being touched. I'm sorry if I didn't get that right. Again, that's part of the point of this video is, anything that I can't pronounce properly, it's probably going to sound very, very funny because it's like a tongue twister, I guess, all in one word. Aphenphosmphobia. Why is there an M there? Is it meant to be a silent N? Aphenphosmophobia? Anyway, fear of being touched. Oh, this one's going to be interesting. Arachibutterophobia. Arachibutterophobia. Fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. That is extremely specific. Fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Not just peanut butter, but specifically sticking to the roof of your mouth. And it, like, arachie makes me think of like arachnophobia, which is the fear of spiders, which is exactly the next one on this list. But arachibutterophobia. Like buttero kind of sounds a bit like butter, so it's like, yeah, fair enough. But arachibutterophobia. Anyway, arachnophobia, fear of spiders, definitely have that. If you come near me with a spider, I will run away. If you chase me, I will never come near you again. Arithmophobia, fear of numbers. Again, that makes sense because like arithmetics and all that sort of thing, it's like numbers. Fair enough. I'm sorry, I'll get off this like soapbox about the words. Anyway. Astrophobia, fear of thunder and lightning. Interesting. Like I know that there are people who are scared of thunder and lightning, but I didn't know the like official word for the fear of it. That's interesting. Astrophobia. Ataxophobia, fear of disorder or untidiness. Interesting. And that wouldn't be the same as OCD because OCD is like the compulsion to tidy it up, whereas this is just legitimately the fear of the untidiness. It's not necessarily the overwhelming urge to fix it or tidy it up. It's just the fear of the untidiness itself. So that's different. Atelophobia, fear of imperfection. I feel like a lot of people have that. And hey, it's kind of understandable because society really like pushes the idea of perfection and the image of perfection onto people, which is really sad. Like in my opinion, perfection doesn't exist. It's a complete social construct made by people for people, and it's just, it doesn't do us any good. Anyway, atychiphobia. Atychiphobia? Again, does it convert to a k or is it still a ch? Atychiphobia? Atychi phobia. Atychiphobia? Fear of failure. Interesting. Automatonophobia. Haha, I got that one. Fear of human-like figures. So, like, mannequins, androids, that sort of thing. Automatonophobia. You see, I feel like that is a really cool word. Automatonophobia. There's just something really cool about that word. Anyway, I think Markiplier has that, maybe? Because he really doesn't like mannequins. Like, whenever he's played horror games with mannequins, he's, like, completely freaked. And, again, completely understandable, and I could be completely wrong about him having this phobia, and maybe it's just a slight fear, not a full-on phobia, but, yeah. I can understand why people would have this kind of fear, because it can be creepy, but yeah. Moving on. Autophobia. Fear of being alone. Okay, I'm sorry, I know I said I'd get off the soapbox, but that doesn't sound like what the fear is, right? Autophobia, fear of being alone. Autophobia to me sounds like something to do with cars or like vehicles, right? But it's the fear of being alone. I'm really going to have to look into like the history of phobias and where the words all derived from because like this is not making sense to me. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll try not to rant as much, but anyway. Bacteriophobia, fear of bacteria. See, there we go. I'm not going to get too ranty about it, but there you go. Barophobia, fear of gravity. Fear of gravity, really? I mean, is it more to do with the fear of falling, like the fear of what gravity could do, like because you're pulled to the ground? I don't know. Is it like the risk of it? I'm really curious about that one. I might look up that one later. Anyway. Bathmophobia, fear of stairs or steep slopes. You see, bathmophobia sounds more like the one that would be to do with fear of bathing. But there you go. Bathmophobia is the fear of stairs or steep slopes, which again is fair enough because it can be pretty, slippery and dangerous. But anyway. Batrachophobia, fear of amphibians. Fair enough. Ballonophobia, fear of pins and needles. You fear pins and needles? I mean, I know it feels weird as hell, and it's weird to like feel the numbness. I guess maybe it's the numbness that they fear. Like, even though we call it pins and needles, like you initially have that numbness. So is it the numbness that they fear because like they can't feel their limb? Again, something to look into. Bibliophobia, fear of books. That is really sad. I'm not judging the people who are bibliophobes, but to anyone that does have the fear of books, I am sorry, because I wish I could show you how amazing books can be. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Again, I'm not trying to judge you. I just wish that I could show you the more positive side of books and take away that fear for you. Anyway, botanophobia, fear of plants. I feel like that probably, like, there's probably an origin of that through, or at least like part of it, through like the old 80s, like B movie, horror movie sort of things, like, what is it, Little Shop of Horrors or something, no, it's not Little Shop of Horrors. It's another one. It's a classic. I can't remember the title. It's in like the back of my head, but it's got like living plants or something. But I know like there would obviously be, because some plants are like poisonous and you don't necessarily know unless you study them and blah blah blah. So fair enough. All the same. Cacophobia, fear of ugliness. Again, I feel like that's something that's probably very heavily based on society and the amount of pressure people have to be like the ideal image, the ideal version of beautiful and stuff like that, which is very, very sad. Catagelophobia. Catagelophobia. Fear of being ridiculed. Again, fair enough. Catoprophobia. No, catoptrophobia. Catoptrophobia. There's another T in there. Fear of mirrors. I feel like, again, that probably has a bit of a link to like superstition and horror movies and stuff, which I think is really cool. But I can also understand it at the same time. Like, there's absolutely no judgment here. I just think that like some of these and the potential history behind them could be really cool. Again, I don't know like the legitimate facts and history behind them, but I think it would be really cool to look into. Chaetophobia or cheetophobia. Chaetophobia. It's AE, so chaetophobia, I think. Fear of hair. Interesting. Chionophobia. Fear of snow. Okay. Not really sure why, but I'd love to find out. Chorophobia or chorophobia. I think it's choro. Chorophobia. Fear of dancing. Aww. I mean, I get anxious and nervous before dancing. I don't like to dance in front of other people unless I've had a few drinks, but I'm sorry if you're afraid of it, because, like, damn, dancing can be really fun. Chromophobia. Fear of colours. Chronometrophobia. Chronometrophobia. Here we go. Fear of clocks. Ha, that's probably Captain Hook, right? Chronophobia. Fear of time. Huh. So it's like a nickname version almost, but it's fear of time instead of clocks specifically. That's cool. Claustrophobia, fear of confined or crowded spaces, one of the most commonly talked about ones that we know. Coulrophobia, fear of clowns. I know a lot of people who have that, and I understand it. I don't have it myself, but I understand it. Cryophobia, fear of ice or cold. Yeah, I can understand that. I feel uncomfortable when I'm cold, but I'm not afraid of it. Cyberphobia, fear of computers. Cybridophobia, fear of prostitutes or escorts or venereal disease. Huh, did not know that was a thing. Again, I'm sorry if I used like any incorrect terms here. That's just, yeah, didn't even know that was a thing. I guess that goes to show, like, the point at the start of this, there seems to be a phobia for a lot of things. Cynophobia, fear of dogs. I know a few people who have had that. And again, no judgment at all. Decidophobia, fear of making decisions. Hey, fair enough, man. Making decisions can be tough. Dipnophobia, fear of dinner conversations. Hey, they can be awkward as fuck. Dendrophobia, fear of trees. Dentophobia, fear of dentists. Didascalinophobia, fear of going to school. Huh, did not know that was a thing. Dometophobia, fear of houses. Dystechiophobia, fear of accidents. Echophobia, fear of the home. Allurophobia, fear of cats. You see, I'm surprised that that's not something like felinophobia or something like that, because felines is cats, and I'm going back to the same rant. I'm sorry, moving on. Emetophobia, fear of vomit. Yeah. Entomophobia, fear of insects. Ephebophobia, fear of teenagers. My Chemical Romance. I'm sorry, just immediately their song Teenagers came straight to my head. Equinophobia, fear of horses. Gamophobia, fear of marriage. Galeophobia, fear of laughter. Geniophobia, fear of chins. Chins, fear of chins. I'm not kidding, like geniophobia, fear of chins. I'm very curious as to why that's a thing. Again, not judging, I'm just curious, like, why? How? What? Okay. Genophobia, fear of knees. Knees! Chins and knees! I mean, knees are at least a bit more useful because they're a joint and they help you walk, but, like, eh. Okay. Globophobia, fear of balloons. Fair enough. I don't like it when they pop. I really don't like it when balloons pop. Glossophobia, fear of speaking in public. Gynophobia, fear of women. Heliophobia, fear of the sun or sunlight. Interesting. Hemophobia, fear of blood. Herpetophobia, fear of reptiles. Hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia. Hold on, I'm going to try that again. Hippopotamonstrosesquipedal. Oh my god, this one's hard. Hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia. Fear of long words. That is ironic as fuck, yo. Like, what the fuck? That is the longest one out of this whole entire list, and it's the fear of long words. That's mean. Whoever made up that name, that is mean, dude. You did that just to be mean. And I know I butchered that so many times, so I hope you got a good laugh, but that is mean. It's ironic and mean. It's bad irony. Hydrophobia, fear of water. Hylophobia, fear of trees. Didn't we have a fear of trees before? I'm confused. Iatrophobia, fear of doctors. Insectophobia, fear of insects. Didn't we have insects before? I feel like there's a couple of double ups here, but they're completely different phobia words, so I'm confused. Koinonophobia, fear of rooms. Kumpaunophobia, fear of buttons. As in like buttons on a jacket, or buttons as in like on your laptop kind of buttons, like keys, buttons. Like big shiny red button, don't press. Leukophobia, fear of the colour white. That's very specific. Lilapsophobia, fear of tornadoes and hurricanes. Fair enough. Toto, I got a feeling we ain't in Kansas anymore. Linonophobia, fear of string. Lochiophobia, fear of childbirth. Megarocophobia, fear of cooking. Megalophobia, fear of large things. Melanophobia, fear of the colour black. Microphobia, fear of small things. Mesophobia, fear of dirt and germs. Fair enough. Necrophobia, fear of death and dead things. Neophobia, fear of new things. Nephophobia, fear of clouds. Clouds? Really? Noctophobia, fear of the night. Oh, I'm definitely not afraid of the night. I like my full moons. Nomophobia, fear of being without mobile phone coverage. Every millennial ever. Sorry, not sorry, guys. You know it's true. Nosocomophobia, fear of hospitals. That's me. Okay. Moving on. Nyctophobia, fear of the dark. Didn't we just do that? Oh, no, that was fear of the night. Okay. Obesophobia, fear of gaining weight. Octophobia, fear of the figure 8. I'm guessing maybe that's tied in with superstition, maybe, but I don't know. Anyway. Ombrophobia, fear of rain. Omphalophobia, fear of the navel or belly button. What's a belly button going to do to you? Like, okay. There. Onomatophobia, fear of names. Ophidiophobia, fear of snakes. Fair enough. Optophobia, fear of opening one's eyes. Ornithophobia, fear of birds. Panphobia, fear of everything. Okay, whoever has that, if there are people with panphobia, I am very sorry. Because, like, that's... I'm not saying this to be mean. Like, again, there's no judgment at all with any of these. I just feel incredibly sorry for whoever is afraid of everything. It blows my mind that that can be a thing. And it makes me very sad for them. Because I feel like they're missing out on a lot. Papyrophobia, fear of paper. Papyro makes me think of papyrus from, I had the game name in my head just then. You guys are gonna, like, kill me in the comments about this, but you know which one I'm talking about. Undertale, that's it. Undertale, yeah, Papyrus from Undertale. And I always loved Jacksepticeye's playthrough of Undertale because his voice for Papyrus was just iconic. It was iconic as fuck. I absolutely loved it. Anyway, moving on. Pathophobia, fear of disease. Pedophobia, fear of children. Philomaophobia, fear of kissing. Fair enough. I mean, some people call kissing sucking face, right? So that sounds kind of scary if you don't know what it is. Philophobia, fear of love. Well, that's unfortunate on Valentine's Day, am I right? I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. Phobophobia, fear of phobias. That's an interesting idea. Plutophobia, fear of money. Podophobia, fear of feet. Pogonophobia, fear of beards. Porphyrophobia, fear of the color purple. Porphyrophobia, that's a cool word. Fear of the color purple. Purple used to be my favorite color, and then I moved on to red. But that's a really cool word. Porphyrophobia. Porphyro phobia. Porphyrophobia. That is a cool word. Pteridophobia. Fear of ferns. And of course, pterido makes me think of pterodactyl. So it's like, dinosaurs, man. Fucking cool. Jurassic Park. Oh my god, I grew up with those movies. Anyway, not getting off topic. Pteromechanophobia. Fear of flying. Pteromechanophobia. Fear of flying. That is a mouthful for fear of flying. Pyrophobia. Fear of fire. Samhainophobia. Fear of Halloween. Hey, fair enough. Michael Myers, am I right? Do 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 do. Scolosophobia, fear of worms. I know someone who's afraid of worms, and I get it. I'm not that person, but I get it. Scolionophobia, fear of school. Didn't we have that before? Or specifically going to school as opposed to just school in general? Okay. Scoptophobia, fear of being stared at. I have to admit I'm kind of guilty of staring at people, but I don't necessarily mean to. Like sometimes I'm just away in my own head and I won't realize that I'm staring at someone until like I refocus on things and it's like, oh, that's awkward. So I'm sorry if I ever stared at you randomly and freaked you out. Selenophobia, fear of the moon. No, why? The moon is beautiful, especially when it's full because it's so bright and shiny and big and shiny. I'm sorry, I love the moon. Sidonglobophobia, the fear of cotton balls or plastic foam. Okay. Sociophobia, fear of social evaluation. Somniophobia, fear of sleep or falling asleep. Interesting. I'd imagine those people would probably end up being insomniacs. Potentially, maybe. I don't know. Syngenosophobia, fear of relatives. Tachophobia, fear of speed. Technophobia, fear of technology. Thalassophobia, fear of the ocean. Again, doesn't Mark have that? He doesn't like the ocean, I know that. I think he's more afraid of the unknown in the depths, so I don't know if he's necessarily afraid of the ocean or if it's just the unknown. I probably should stop mentioning them. Like, I'm not being sponsored or anything like that. I'm just, like, mentioning stuff from memory. Ignore me if I'm wrong. Please don't hate me. Xanthophobia, the fear of kissing someone you love. Specifically someone you love? Like, oh, I can kind of understand where that may have come from, but at the same time, that's so sad. Tonotrophobia, fear of thunder. So that one's just thunder, as opposed to before where it was like lightning and thunder. This is just thunder. Tonotrophobia. That's a cool word. Triskaidekaphobia, fear of the number 13. Hey, fair enough. There's a lot of superstition with the number 13. That's understandable. Trypanophobia, fear of needles and infections. Again, I'm more to do with like the needles and injections rather than infections, but I don't know, maybe. Trypophobia, fear of holes. Oh, that's the one where it's like the irregular patterns of holes and stuff, yeah? Or is it just the holes themselves? I think it's also to do with the irregular patterns. Yeah, that one gets talked about a lot, which is fair enough. Churophobia, fear of cheese. T-U-R-O, churophobia, fear of cheese. Venostrophobia, fear of beautiful women. Bruh. Verminophobia, fear of germs. Vestophobia, fear of clothing. Wiccaphobia, fear of witches and witchcraft. Xanthrophobia, fear of the color yellow. Xenophobia, fear of the unknown. There we go. And zoophobia, fear of animals. Poor animals. And poor people. All right, that's all of them for today, guys. I know this audio went on for a little bit. I apologize in advance for any word butchering or any like bad jokes and stuff like that. I'm into dad jokes and that sort of thing. Sometimes I fall a bit flat, but I hope you guys had fun, and I will upload again soon. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.